All right. So $3,000 a month rent for a one plus den with one parking in Toronto downtown.
That's crazy.
How does that sound?
Crazy.
Crazy, isn't it? So the rents are just basically going through the roof, and looks like there's no more ceiling.
I know.
If you come to think of it, right? So what's happening? Is that where is that where we are headed at the moment, given where things are at? Because
Is that a good
seems
thing?
like
Is it a bad thing? Who is it good for?
it's.
Who-
I don't know. We have no idea. And the question is it something that's triggering that that's such a huge appreciation in the rental market? Um, because again, everybody's been talking about how unaffordable everything is. That's number one. Secondly, what's happening just generally in the market
With the interest rate
with the interest rates, and
environment.
that's basically putting a lot of pressure on potential buyers. So a lot of people who are, I think, who are probably going after these monthly, high rent properties, they could have been potential buyers if the market wasn't where it is at the moment.
Of course,
What do you
of
think?
course. There's a lot of pressure on these buyers.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think these situations always help someone, right?
Yeah.
And it could be, I'm just thinking, like from an investor's perspective,
Yeah.
like is this a time for investors to think about, okay, we're gonna buy something, but because are we shifting into the Dubai mindset where we look at how much rent we're gonna yield at the end of the year, that different mindset of the market is shifting towards that. So I'm just thinking from an investor's, but is that something that investors can benefit from?
So, since the interest rates had started going up, the condo market has been under a lot of pressure. Because what has happened is that a lot of investors look at obviously the bottom line, the cash flow, as well as what kind of margins they're talking about, right? So, as the interest rates started going up, the market started shifting a little bit because it wasn't, especially these condos, for
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
they were not as attractive anymore,
Of course.
right? Because now you're going into this territory where you're going to be in a negative cash flow kind of
Yeah,
a situation. So what has happened over the last I would say about 12 to 15 months, is that we started seeing a fairly large slowdown in the condo market that has started bringing the prices down, especially in some of these core markets.
Yeah.
Because the investor basically decided that, hey, you know what, I just can't make any money off of these units. But I think now we are at a point where I think all of a sudden, when I hear about these rentals, for a one plus den unit going over $3,000 per month, I believe that I think this is now the perfect time for investors to start taking a look at this market very seriously.
Yeah, the new investor will come in. The ones who sold before,
Yeah.
and now it's going to be a new set of investors or the same, whatever. They're going to come and they're going to start picking up these units because it's going to be cash flow. That's what an investor looks for: cash flow positivity, right? Like
Cash
if
flow
they can-
positivity, yeah.
Either if they're breaking even or they're positive.
That's
you
right.
know?
I think we're getting back to that kind of a market where the
Yeah.
prices have come down on the sale side of things, and the rents have started going up very quickly and very significantly.
Yeah.
So a couple of investors we are talking to recently as well, and it was the same kind of a point of view that I think we are probably at a point where the investors should start looking at some of these condo markets again seriously, because I think we are reaching that little sweet spot now where the prices are low, rents are high, and on top of it, we are still working with this foreign buyers ban
Of course.
that people probably may have forgotten a little bit about.
Yeah.
It made a lot of headlines about a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Just imagine when that ban is lifted,
What's gonna
how many
happen?
investors are going to come back into the market,
Yeah.
and how that's going to change the downtown and some of the other pockets as well.
I find
So-
just talking about the rental market, I mean, you're specifically talking about downtown, but working with a lot of tenants in outside of downtown,
Correct.
like
Call it the
I know
905, if
the
you will, right?
905ers, like
Yeah.
honestly, like rents are not low.
No,
They
not at
are-
all.
they're not. It's not like they're not competitive.
No.
I was working with a tenant just last week. The property had 10 offers
Yeah.
in Milton for a 2-bedroom, 2-washroom condo unit.
Right.
Like 10 offers.
Yeah.
And good for the landlord. They rented it for much higher than they had listed it for.
That's right. That's
But
right.
that shows how many people are there looking to rent properties.
That's right. So I think bottom line is that it is a good time to start taking a look at
closer look.
the investment side of your portfolio a little bit seriously again, because I think it did take a bit of a pause
It did.
over the last about 12 or 15 months or so.
Since COVID, yeah.
Yeah, whether these rents are gonna sustain at that level or not, it's anybody's guess. To be honest
Yeah.
with you, it's very hard to gauge where things are gonna go, but at the same time, I think we can only gauge what's currently happening. right?
Exactly.
And make an informed decision based on that.
And immigration is not slowing down. That's another
Immigration is not
very
slowing
big
down.
factor.
Absolutely.
People
Yeah.
have to find a place to stay,
Yeah.
rent for the first year at least, right?
Yeah, and if people think that the market is going to be flooded with inventory, it's very tough. First of all, obviously, people who don't have to sell, they're not selling. They're saying, hey, you know what? The rents are high. Might as well keep renting.
Exactly.
Right? Might as well keep making some money off of it. Why sell in a low market? So that's number one. Right, and secondly, again, I'm going back to the point then that these prices, I don't think they're going to last very long, given how how active the Greater Toronto pocket is.
Exactly. Okay,
All right.
well, share your thoughts. What do you think about this entire rental market scenario? And
Yeah.
do you think that is it a good time for you or anybody that you know to start thinking about these investment opportunities? Well, give us a call.